After today's Pokemon Presents, I woke up to what is possibly the most unexpected and most exciting possibility that we could have gotten from the Pokemon Presents. Pokemon Legends ZA. No one expected this. I'll be honest, if you called Pokemon Z as the new mainline game we'd be getting in this Presents, I'd be impressed. Now, before I discuss it properly, I want to make a few things clear. Pokemon X and Y were my first Pokemon games, my favorite game in the series is Legends Arceus, and my second favorite is actually X and Y. While they're on the easier side, I have so much nostalgia for them it's pretty hard to beat. And this comes especially as a surprise since I think everyone expected us to get either Black and White remakes or a Legends Kyurem. But I am not complaining. Not in the slightest. But yeah, without further ado, let's talk about Pokemon Legends ZA. Because in all seriousness, I have been anxiously waiting the return to the Kalos region. It is the only set of games to have never gotten an enhanced version, DLC, sequels, anything. They were the only ones that have been one and done. Until today. And the reason I say anxiously waiting is because BDSP, well, it happened. And that was a region people were actually clamoring to go back to. Not the one sandwiched in between a fan favorite and the one everyone complains about how you have to mash A for 5 hours to start the game about. X and Y are kind of just the ones that didn't get a third version or the one Greninja's from. Albeit I have heard a lot of people talking about X and Y more just because the people who started with that generation are a lot more vocal and active online now. Which makes sense. That's how time works. But as I said, I am so glad to be revisiting Kalos. And not only revisiting it, but revisiting it in a Legends game that we know absolutely nothing about. But, I mean, I did kind of just lie. We know one thing. Mega Evolution is back! Will we get new Megas? Who knows? Will Charizard get a Z form? Probably. But I think I've delayed enough about talking about the release date. So it's 2025. We're not getting a mainline Pokemon game this year. Now, I want to make this very clear. This is a good thing. While, yes, games can be overcooked, they can also be undercooked. Look at Scarlet and Violet or Sword and Shield. And I think that proves the point quite adequately. Giving an extra year or two of development time to make Pokemon Legends ZA the best it can be should pay off in the long run. And I'm not saying it will, but it's definitely going to be a good step. Especially since Game Freak are really the only developers who work on Pokemon games. Compare that to another series that releases annually like Call of Duty, where they have 3 separate studios that switch out every year. Which means despite a new one releasing every year, each game actually still has a 3-year development time. But the real crazy thing about Pokemon Legends ZA releasing next year and not this year is this is the first year since I've been in the Pokemon community where we did not get a new game. The last break was in 2015, but the first year I really got into the Pokemon community was the lead up to Sun and Moon. Genuinely, it's insane to think that there has been a new Pokemon game every year I have been actively following this series until now. And I'm glad. I've been saying they need more time to cook for a while now. A lot of people have. But before we continue, if you're enjoying the video and want to see more of me, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It helps the channel an absolute ton. But since there isn't much more to go off of, I just want a headcanon. I love the Kalos region. I love this generation. I just want to talk about it. So, do we get AZ's Floette? Maybe. Please, you coded this thing a decade ago. Hell, the name of the game is Pokemon Legends ZA. AZ! Also, with the whole Mega Evolution thing, it's probably going to take place after the Great War, which sucks, because a Pokemon game taking place during the Great War would be incredible. But it still could, because perhaps the firing of the ultimate weapon happens during the game's plot, which is then when you get access to Mega Evolution. That'd be cool, and you could have the second half of the game exploring the aftermath of the war. And the timeline splitting. Yeah, for those who are newer to the Pokemon community, X and Y caused the Pokemon timeline to split into two branches, the Mega Timeline and the non-Mega Timeline, with the 3DS games and Let's Go taking place in the Mega Timeline, and everything else taking place in the original timeline. Hell, why not just pull a Zelda and merge the timelines? And I don't know where to put this, so I'm just gonna say it now. When getting background music for this video, I picked like 50 songs from the X and Y OST. You're probably gonna hear this OST for a while, which makes sense. I have so much nostalgia for these songs, but that says how excited I am. Especially since every time I record, my least favorite part of making a video has always been getting the background music. I find it very boring and tedious, and I really liked doing it for this video. And as I said earlier, I'm just in such a weird spot of I don't want to get my hopes up too high. But also, this is a dream Pokemon game for me. You're combining a region I have so much nostalgia with my favorite gameplay style the franchise has ever touched, and throwing that on my favorite Nintendo system. I'm gonna be pretty excited. I can't wait to see what starters we get. I can't wait to see what new regional forms we get. Whatever. I'm really excited, and this is the most excited I think I've been for a Pokemon game ever, in all honesty. Genuinely, I'm so excited to return to Kalos in this gameplay formula, and I think Lumio City is a perfect spot to make the hub. It is dead center in the middle of the map, and weirdly enough, the fact this isn't a black and white remake fits a small little theory I've had about the Pokemon remakes for a while. Because with the exception of Fire Red, Leaf Green, this is fall. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, the Gen 2 remakes released in Gen 4. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the Gen 3 remakes releasing in Gen 6. And Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, the Gen 4 remakes releasing in Gen 8. Every single remake is the double of that original generation. Okay, well aside from Kanto and its 2 remakes, but that's a fair enough exception. But that's really all I have to say on Pokemon ZA. What are your thoughts? I'm super excited for it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.